We're talking NASCAR on Proline TV for the 2026 season, which is very, very nearly underway. We still have a few days to go before the Daytona 500 show. If you want to check out some of our shows that we did to get you ready for the season, you can go ahead and check that out right here on our library of shows at Proline TV. The first one was an off-season kind of update. Last week, we did a Daytona 500 full preview, so you can check that out if you want to find out everything about what we talked about with the Daytona 500, including our picks and all that kind of stuff, which we are going to update on this show. And then here we are, not only updating the Daytona 500, but we're also going to be giving our predictions for the upcoming season. We'll go over the championship futures and the reasons for those picks. And we're going to be introducing our new contest, which we have talked about, the DraftKings NASCAR contest that we just put together. A link is in the description of this video already. We're going to get into in just a minute. And as I welcome in our lead NASCAR analyst, CJ Radune from RotoWire.com. How's it going, CJ?
It's going all right. I'm ready to move past the clash and get to some real racing here this week.
Yes, thank goodness.
Hopefully.
Whatever that was. Yeah. Hopefully, right. What is the forecast? What do we got for that?
It looks good up until race day on Sunday. Then
of course,
60% chance of rain. So we'll see how that goes. But at least Thursday, Wednesday's qualifying, and then Thursday's duels, and then the trucks and O'Reilly series look to be set. But we'll see what comes for the 500 on Sunday. Okay.
Well, they do have lights, so who knows how long that race will go, but hopefully they'll get it in. That's the first step. And the second step is to make sure that you get in the entire race. And then the final step is to make sure that you win the race on green and not the yellow. So 3 more steps to go. We'll see if we can get off to a good start here for the 2026 season. So let's now start off by talking about the new contest that we put together. So this is a $2. We decided, we could have done it for free. We could have done it for $1, $5, $25, whatever the case may be. So we just decided, you know what? We can change it whenever we need to, but we're going to start it off with just $2. And it's going to be up to, right now we have it up to 20, 25 entries, but obviously whenever we do get to that point, because we might have 5 this week. But whenever we get to that point, then we'll just go ahead and change it and open up to more entries. So this is just so we could have a little fun and also go over some of our picks. There's 6 driver picks each week, CJ. And so maybe we could always give our top 3 and then leave it to the rest of our viewers to decide which way they want to go. And who knows, maybe we'll throw in our entire 6 now and then. But this is how you find it. They're links only. So I can't give you like a code or anything like that over the air. You just have to go. Now, after the show, I am going to put another link in the comments section up top just to make it even easier. But for you live viewers, all you'd have to do right now is click the More button. And here you see it. Click here to enter our weekly $2 DraftKings fantasy contest. You click there, and here it is. Okay, so it's that simple. Of course, this is how it's all set up. Again, a very simple $2 entry fee. So, CJ, why don't you explain a little bit about how this works?
Sure. Basically, you're trying to create a roster or a team of 6 drivers. You can see all of them have a price tag next to their name, though, and these price tags change every week depending upon the race. But within your 6 drivers, you have to stay under a total salary of $50,000. So you've got to be judicious, and you got to pick further on down the roster there. You get points for positive finishing position. So in other words, if you start 40th and finish first, you'll get 39 points for that because you move forward 39 positions. You get points for leading laps. You get points for where you finish or where your driver finishes. So if you win, you get the, what is it, 55 points, I think, this year for a win. So you get that as well. And then the total points for your team compared against everyone else's teams determines the winner. And there is strategy here. So if we're at a place like Daytona, which we will be this weekend, you will probably want to go for finishing differential since starting position at Daytona and Talladega doesn't mean all that much, but when we go to a place like Martinsville, Richmond, or Bristol, where we have hundreds and hundreds of laps, you probably want to go for somebody who's more likely to lead tons of laps. So we'll talk about this each week as we go forward, but hopefully you can join us, pick 6 drivers within $50,000, and then see how those guys come out, hopefully Sunday afternoon, if not Monday, maybe, and we'll hopefully win some money for you.
Yeah, and of course, to enter like the big DraftKings, this is another way for you to play with us, but also you can enter the regular DraftKings contest. I believe their big one is $25 entry fee, and there you can make a shitload of cash. So you could use the same strategies that you would use with our contest and just throw it over there to the big one if you want to go down that road and spend $25 a week with their contests. Some of you have probably already done that. Some of you may have never done it. Maybe this is a good opportunity to either do it all at once or start off with ours. And after a few weeks, maybe you feel good enough to start off throwing in that $25 entry fee into the big one. So yeah, pretty much what the deal is on the super speedways, these would be the best opportunity to make points up on the movement from where you're starting and where you finish. So those 6 races, Atlanta, Daytona, and Talladega, those would be the 6 biggest opportunities for that kind of, that kind of points situation where you can just gobble them up that way. And that's why you definitely have to wait and find out what the qualifying order is going to be after the duels.
Yeah, I was surprised actually that they have the contest for Daytona 500 actually launched prior to the duels, considering that's such an important part at a place like Daytona. However, your restrictor plate top drivers are going to be your restrictor plate top drivers, and you can see them listed there. Not exactly sure why Kyle Larson's all up there, but it's probably because and Bell, and they're already out of the left-hand column. So,
right.
But I think, like you said, the Daytona, Talladega, maybe a little bit less so Atlanta, but certainly Daytona and Talladega, you can definitely stack your roster with some very cheap guys down at the bottom. There are probably some in the $5,000 to $6,000 range that actually stand a pretty good chance of potentially even winning this race and aren't likely to start up front. So we'll know more after Thursday's qualifying races. But the strategy for this week, I would say, aside from trying to choose a winner, look for somebody who's going to come from behind and make up a ton of positions and potentially finish inside the top 5.
Now, what is this? Is this actually for the Clash top 10s races?
Yep.
Okay. Why on earth would they add that in there? But okay, I guess they had a contest for it. So.
Go away.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. That's how it's going to be done. And so what is this here? What is this here? FPPR.
Fantasy point per race.
Oh, okay. So these are all the points that you had from the Clash.
That'll update every week.
Okay, got it. All right, so there you go. If you have any questions at all, suggestions, anything regarding how you, because really there's only a few different ways that we could put the contest together, like entry fee, number of entrants. And I really don't think there's anything much more than that. So if you have any suggestions, though, or questions, just let us know, and we will definitely get back to you on that. Okay, so that is what is going on there with the contest. So once again, you saw a couple of the drivers that were in there for my contest, and those were drivers that we already talked about for the race on our show last week. So that's pretty much, again, I'm sure I'm going to go ahead and still stick with a few of my drivers that I've already used in our Daytona 500 preview show. But I'm definitely going to have to update that after, just like everybody else, after the qualifying on Thursday. So let's go ahead. Let me see if I can pop up the odds here, and we can just once again update what we talked about for our 500 picks. I think I noticed a couple of minor changes with the odds. So let me just pop that in there. Where are we? Okay, here we go. And Denny Hamlin is now the favorite.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, as we said,
not a bad top driver. Certainly a lot of Daytona 500 wins, but we talked about his success at this track in the current generation of car. It just isn't there. Really rough off season for him. It's going to be very interesting to see how he comes back in 26. And the thing everybody's going to be watching very carefully is his shoulder that he injured over the off season as well, and it is requiring surgery. But given that he wasn't going to be able to recover in time, he is delaying surgery until the end of the season. So he's going to be racing hurt. I'm not sure. He's done it before. I'm not sure how much that's going to slow him down. I think more importantly is just his record in this next generation of car at Daytona since it was introduced.
Yeah, remember, as we talked about the other day, you're going to have to decide whether or not you believe that taking a Toyota is a good idea or not. So we went into full depth reasons why. Of course, right now you have to keep in mind that the last Toyota driver to win at Daytona was actually Denny Hamlin in the 2020 Daytona 500. So that is over 11 races ago. We have 6 Ford winners and 5 Chevy winners since then, which is why you should just keep that in mind. But they've got a Toyota at the top of the odds right now. And again, this is just DraftKings. Every sports book could be different. And for the most part, I think most of the sports books I've looked at, you see the usual suspects, Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney seem to be 2 definitely at the top. And they are putting William Byron up there and Denny Hamlin as well. Larson's a little bit past those guys, but Cindric is actually, I saw Cindric almost as a favorite, but that has a lot to do with Penske and his teammates and the fact that he's also won at Daytona before. And as far as our picks, let's see, I believe we have used some Toyotas, but our top 2 picks are both Fords. We went with the 2 Penske drivers, Blaney and Logano. So you decided to go down with Joey Logano, who is on a little bit of a bad run right now at Daytona with a 31.2 average in his last 4 races. He has failed to finish 3 times, but he's led 27 or more in all 4 of those races.
Yeah, the problem with Logano is the luck. He's been out front, he's been leading laps, and he's often been crashed out of the lead while leading laps. So bad luck's got to change at some point. Team Penske Fords have been extremely strong at the super speedways. Daytona, I don't expect to be much different. Toyota has definitely been closing the gap, so I'm excited to see how they perform on Thursday. But here, before any laps have been run, I think Logano and Blaney are 2 very good picks.
Yeah, and then we have, let's see, out of the other picks, we have 6 total. We'll have 6 every week, our top 3 each. And we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3 Toyotas. So we have, let's see, 2 Fords, right? Is that it? 2 Fords, a Chevy, and a Toyota?
I believe so.
Where is Suarez now? Chevy?
Chevy. Spire Motorsports.
Yep. So there you go. So we do have that. So we've used them all, but we're deciding to go ahead and give Toyota a little bit of a break. And part of that is that all 3 of our Toyota drivers do have long shot odds. You've got Chase Briscoe, and his odds have now still stay at 20-1. I've got Bell, who's at 22-1. And I also, as my long shot, I have John Hunter Nemechek at 65-1. So, and again, there are reasons to believe that, maybe Toyota could start to get some luck going their way here at Daytona. And what would those specific reasons be for CJ?
They've been speeding up. Early on with this generation of car, the front nose and the rear bumper didn't really work well together. It was very unstable when they were trying to link together and push one another. And the driver that was getting pushed often couldn't hang on to it. They've made some changes to the bodywork. They've aligned the front and rear bumpers a little bit better, a little bit flatter of a surface, and I think you've seen some of that success come in the more recent super speedway races. So I do think that it's just a matter of time before Toyota ends up being back in victory lane. The question is who's going to do it, and hopefully this weekend for me, Chase Briscoe.
And I think we will, even though qualifying is not a big deal at these races, it does sometimes show us who's got a fast car, which teams seem to be running really well. And that is something that is important. So if Toyota happens to have a really good day on Thursday, maybe that's a good sign that they might have something for everybody on Sunday, where if you look at the last 16 Daytona 500s, 10 winners have started outside the top 10. So 10 of the last 16 started outside the top 10, including positions of 20th, 21st, 29th, and 31st. Keep in mind that when they raced here in August, there was rain, and it rained out qualifying. So Ryan Blaney, because of their silly rules, he started first and wound up winning from the pole. We might have rain on Sunday.
You got it. So we'll see how that plays out. I suspect we're going to get the qualifying in the dual races on Thursday. And I think that's really where you want to look at, again, not just for that indicator for sure, but during Thursday night, you want to be looking for those teams, those drivers, those cars that are able to work together and are able to make passes through the field, ultimately getting up into the lead and being able to lead a lot of laps. If somebody is out there and just leads the entire thing, I'm not going to be as impressed of that Thursday night. I'd rather see somebody come from mid-pack or lower pack, work their way up into the top 5. Those are the ones that I think I'll be having my eye closest on for Sunday success, though.
Okay. That's going to be on Thursday. I will start the qualifying reports on Saturday. So even though it's a super speedway race and I might not be doing qualifying reports for any other race that's a super speedway race this season, except this one, based on it being the first race and putting the contest together, kind of reminding everybody about that and just getting a little bit more of an update just that we spoke about after taking a look at what happens on Thursday. So we are going to do that, or I am going to be available every Saturday for the qualifying report. So stay tuned and check that out. Make sure you subscribe to the show, of course, and let us know on your mind through the comment section. And now is our opportunity to give our preseason predictions. So let's go right to it. Let's take a look at the championship odds. And you see, no big surprise, Larson and Hamlin back at the top at 4-1. Then you've got Byron, Bell, Blaney, a little bit more to Elliott, Briscoe. And there's your single-digit championship drivers. So do you have a definite out of all those drivers? You only get one of them based on our picks. So out of all of and that's going to include 14-1 Tyler Reddick and 18-1 Joey Logano. A little bit surprised to see Joey Logano at 18-1. He doesn't qualify for our sleeper, and good reason, because there would be no reason for us not to pick him. That would be too easy of a pick. So I suggest everybody at 18-1 Joey Logano to go ahead and put some money on him right now.
Yeah, Logano is a very good choice. It's an even year. We know every other year he tends to succeed. So very well could come back again this year. Would not be surprising at all. I am interested. I don't know that there's one, but there are certainly two or three that kind of stand out to me, and they're not on the screen right now. Christopher Bell last year had the best average finish of all of the full-time drivers. And he's, given you better odds here before any wheels have been turned than several other top contenders. So I think he looks really good. Ryan Blaney is always a threat. Even further down, though, you've got somebody like Chase Briscoe. who you're getting 150% of the odds as you were for Bell. So compare that to somebody like a Larson. You're getting more than twice as much for Larson. Chase Briscoe came on so strongly at the end of this year. He's got a full season under his belt with Joe Gibbs and Toyota now. I do think with a +9 odds amongst all of the favorites, Logano's a good one. I'd prefer him to be more of a sleeper. But out of all of those, I think I got to go with either Chris Bell or Chase Briscoe, to be honest with you, as my top choice prior to any wheels being turned.
Okay, so if you had to now,
if you force me to choose, I'll go with Briscoe, since he's offering.
All right, that sounds good because of course, Bell was my pick last year, and he came awfully close to getting it done. So, and I did that with Blaney. I stuck with Blaney until he got it done. So I'll go ahead and stick with Bell then, since you went with Briscoe. But I would have, I think Blaney is a really good pick too. I mean, I'm a fan, obviously, but the other one I would be looking at, man, I don't know what to expect from Denny Hamlin this year. I really don't. It's and the odds are really low, so it's kind of tough. I mean, Byron gets a little bit more, and you do just get the feeling Byron is another one that's like, because he really, I mean, he came so close to winning. I don't know what to expect from these guys, but again, it'll be better, I think, for maybe a Christopher Bell or a William Byron to not have a one and done deal, especially at Phoenix. So maybe that's exactly what they need, because we know, especially William Byron, we know how good he can be at that time of year. So maybe this is a William Byron's year as well. So these are all, I mean, I definitely would not go with Larson. He won it last year. He was very, very, very fortunate to win last year, as we all know. So going back to back three-timer, no, I'm not seeing it. Not at that price. So yeah, I think Byron, Bell, Blaney, those would be the top ones there for me. And I have nothing against taking Chase Briscoe as well. I think the only thing I would be a little bit concerned with, if I was going to take Chase Briscoe, I wonder whether or not I would just wait. I might risk that. Maybe I'd invest a little bit of money today, but not all of it. Because let's just say he gets off to a slow start. He has a slow month, which who cares? You have a slow month. It's not the biggest deal in the world. That maybe your odds are 14-1. And then now you got a much better value there for Briscoe. So that's something that I would look at. And then again, like we talked about with Logano, he's like a no-brainer at 18-1. So
yeah,
not feeling it for Reddick.
Nah, no. This season's all about, with the change in the championship format, like you said, all about consistency. Winning races, you get more points this year for winning races. But it's not like win one and you're in. So it's going to take some form of consistency, and it's going to have to come definitely in the last 10 races of the year. You correctly called out Byron being able to do that. Bell is able to do that. I'm taking a little bit of a leap with Briscoe. I do think you can wait. I think you're right. I think he can get some better odds, especially if he gets off to a slower start. But I think for me, the only thing that he was missing from last year to be making him a championship contender this year is maybe one or two more race wins. He had 3. As it is, which was great. Denny Hamlin lacking consistency. He's got the shoulder injury. I wonder how he's going to perform. Kyle Larson, the odds aren't good there. So I think you're looking at Bell, Briscoe, Byron. I think is a good choice. Not feeling it with Reddick yet. 0 wins last year, 14 top 10s. That's not going to get it done in this year's format.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing ahead of Joey Logano here. It's just, again, that if you can get close to 18-1 on your sports book, you got to just grab Logano. He should be, without a doubt, he should be ahead of Reddick, and he should not be basically tied with the rookie. Okay, yeah. So that should not be happening. So that is a bonus right off the bat. All right, let's go to our sleepers. So our sleepers. Oh, and one more, and that would be, we should mention, of course, maybe the most popular driver in the sport, Chase Elliott. And while he did make his sort of comeback last year, he was better. He was better on the road courses, where he typically was dominant years ago. Does he have it in him to take now that championship step? I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be able to. What do you think?
No, I think Elliott is an extremely consistent driver. Last year, he just, again, didn't have the wins. He trailed off a little bit as it got to late summer, maybe a little bit into the fall. But remember, he was the one that went the longest into last season, finishing inside the top 20. So no reason that he can't take one step forward, make those top 15s and top 10s this year, and then walk away with it. The thing that might hold him back this year, again, is that he's been having trouble getting into victory lane frequently, or as frequently as others. Similar to Chase Briscoe for me. If Elliott can keep his consistency, but maybe win a handful more races, I think he's got a legitimate shot.
Okay, now our sleepers are going to be any driver from 20-1 up that we want to take. So this is basically our second choice, better value, starting with the rookie. And then here are the other choices. So a moment, go ahead and tell us who you want to take as your sleeper, CJ.
Well, I think there's one obvious, and he's on the screen right now. Yeah, but right up at the top there. So we talked about all of his teammates so far. He's in fantastic equipment. He has a tendency to go out and win races that perhaps he shouldn't. Just needs a little bit more consistency and be able to carry that all through the season. If we're talking about potential and being able to live up to the car that he's driving, I think Alex Bowman is a very clear winner here in the mid-pack. I think another one that was further up is somebody like a Chris Buescher. I just wonder how RFK Racing is going to perform in 26. They've been kind of up and down. They've been able to get to victory lane some seasons more frequently than others. So I think Chris Buescher is a good choice. But for me, I think Alex Bowman is a standout among this mid-pack group.
Well, I'm glad you took Bowman because I was definitely thinking about him. Again, we both understand that he has that capability. It was not a good year for him last year after an excellent stretch down in 2024 through the early parts of the playoffs, and then it all fell apart, and he wasn't able to get any of the momentum back last year. But we're talking about sleeper, and he's 45-1. That is a big number that I think you should take advantage of. Look, I look at some of these drivers. There's no way I'm taking a rookie. Chastain might be the most interesting up here for me because of what we've seen from him in the past. Again, not a good year for him last year, but a couple of years back for really those first 2 years of the next gen, he started to everything changed for him, as we all know, and he became one of the top drivers in the sport for a couple of years, but that's kind of gone away. So I'm a little bit hesitant early on, but if I start seeing some positive moves from Chastain early on this season, and my mind could definitely change. At least Buescher's got a big number at 35-1, winning a championship for Buescher or Wallace. I'm not so sure I see that. But before we get to the 50-1 shots, I think Bowman's a good one. But I just have to roll the dice with Kyle Busch. I just have to because we know the makeup is there. I just can't imagine he's going to go through another year like he's been going through. I can't. It's got to come to an end. I mean, they have to figure it out. You would think that after what's gone on the last few years, that Kyle Busch has got to be kicking at somebody's asses, somewhere along the lines to get things going, including his own. Because he's made his share of stupid mistakes. So I think he's young enough. And of course, we know he's getting up there.
New crew chief. They've made changes.
But he's still young enough to win a championship. And we're talking 45-1.
Yep. Like I said, new crew chief. They've made changes in the organization. So they're definitely trying to do the things that will help put somebody like Kyle Busch back in a winning position. Last year, he really did have speed, but he had some poor luck that he wasn't able to capitalize on it and thought he was actually going to be able to break through. And I do get the feeling that once he does get that breakthrough and get a win, a lot are going to follow after. And so I do think Kyle Busch is pretty good sleeper pick here as well.
And then our long shot pick, any driver that is 50-1 or better, 50-1. So this is going to take a lot. But any driver that we feel either will win the championship or make it awfully close. So here it starts at 50-1 with these drivers, Barry Hocevar, Gibbs, and then we get to some of the others. So who sticks out for you? See,
there are two that stick out to me. One, I have a really hard time choosing because he hasn't lived up to his expectations yet. The other one, I think, has shown all the qualities of eventually becoming a champion, but just needs to carry it out a full season. So I'll take the conservative route and go with that second person who I think has shown championship caliber performances throughout his career, just needs to get it done at the cup level. He's won a couple of races, just needs to win some more, and that's Austin Cindric. He's getting better odds than Ty Gibbs anyway.
Austin Cindric, that was my long shot pick last year. And so, it is kind of time for him with the equipment that he's in. It's kind of that put up or shut up time now. So,
Agreed.
Yeah, at 70-1, why not? It's more about, look, and it doesn't matter if he goes out and wins this week. None of that matters because he's won before on the super speedways. He's got to be more consistent. And that's been, I'm really quite surprised that we haven't seen that yet, considering his teammates and the equipment he has. So this is a big year for Austin Cindric. So maybe this is the one that he's able to break through. I'm going to go ahead and take a driver who still needs to get a win. But we know he started to come close last year. He just needs to be more consistent, and that's Ty Gibbs. So yep. I think if he could just break through with that first win, then maybe that's all he needs to kind of get all that monkey off his back and just get going. Another driver like Cindric, very good at the lower level, expected big things from him. We haven't seen it yet. At least Cindric's been winning races. Gibbs has not. Maybe this is the year.
Yeah, Gibbs was my second choice. And like I said, Cindric's giving me a little bit better odds today. I do totally agree. I think once Gibbs figures it out, he's going to be really tough to beat, but he hasn't figured it out yet. It's been a number of years. I feel like this is almost a put up or shut up season for him. Similar to Cindric, they're both in the same bucket. I just went with Cindric because it's a little bit more conservative, plus I'm getting better odds. My second choice clearly would have been Ty Gibbs, though. Completely agree with everything you said.
And then we wrap it up with our breakthrough driver. Now, a breakthrough driver could be a driver somewhere along the lines of long shot to sleeper to just a driver that maybe doesn't even come close to winning a championship, but maybe he finally wins a race, and we've been waiting for that. He's got the talent to do it. I'm not just talking about someone who wins a luck race, but someone who actually we've been waiting for to get a win, and maybe he does a little bit more than that. And maybe he is in contention for a championship a lot later into the season than anyone would have thought. So this kind of open-ended, and there are a few drivers that I have in mind, but most of these drivers probably, and I'll even throw in there that you could even say it starts with even a Chase Briscoe, because winning a championship could be a breakthrough. So anything at all along the lines that you think would qualify for breakthrough driver, give me a few drivers that are on your mind, CJ, and the one that you're going to go ahead and pick.
This one's a little bit tougher because the competition is very tight, and I do have a couple of guys that are in mind. I'll start with Shane Van Gisbergen. I don't know that we can classify him as breakout.
Yeah. Yes, we can. He's got to do it outside the road courses, of course.
That's where it's got to happen. And he has been consistently improving on ovals. And he's got the new teammate in Connor Zilich there. I don't know that that's going to necessarily impact his chances or anything like that. But I think that intramural rivalry between the two of them is going to spill over onto ovals. And I think I see Shane Van Gisbergen continuing to climb the leaderboard toward the top contenders. The other person that is on my mind is Ty Gibbs, because of exactly what we talked about. He's been in for so many years. I expected a lot of things from him since joining this series. Hasn't really come to fruition. He's gotten close on a number of occasions. So I think those are the two that I've got my mind on. If I had to, go with breakthrough versus just steady improvement, I think Ty Gibbs would be that. I do expect to see steady improvements from SVG this year on the ovals. I see him consistently being inside the top 20 in the points versus the outside and only being a road course specialist like we saw last year.
All right. I have 4 names that pop out for me. I'm expecting, I really hope we see some sort of progress from Noah Gragson. I think it'd be good for the sport. He's good personality, and I think to have him more in the limelight would be a good thing. So hopefully we'll see him break through with at least a win, get something going. The other driver who's also down in his vicinity that I have a little bit more confidence with is John Hunter Nemechek. Just get the feeling that maybe he could start doing something this year. We saw glimpses of it last year. So for such a long shot, I think he's something I really think could be a real big dark horse. But the two that I'm the most interested in and most confident would be these two right here, Josh Berry and Carson Hocevar.
Yep.
So
Agreed.
these are the two. Yeah, these are the two that I don't, of course, think they can win a championship, but I think we could see big things from them this year. And Hocevar, of course, it's the longer he goes out there and races, the more patient he will become. He'll have to be. That has no alternative to be if he wants to be successful. And so that just comes with experience. And I think he'll break through with a win. And I probably feel a little bit more confident that Josh Berry could have a better year than Hocevar, just because we've seen him be more consistent than Hocevar before. And I also think that maybe he's in a little bit better equipment. But I don't know. What do you think if you had to choose between those two?
Yeah, Barry was on my list as well. I thought about Hocevar. He just signed a new multi-year deal to stay in the series. And I think the more time that he gets behind the wheel, the more experience he gets, the stronger he's going to become. But I think the one that can really do it now is Josh Berry. He's in Wood Brothers equipment. They've got the technical alliance with Team Penske. Team Penske extremely strong. We saw, I think he outperformed expectations last year as well. So excited to see what Josh Berry could do. Fully agree with you. These two were definitely on my radar. If I have to choose between the two, I'll take Berry because I think he's in a better position to do it now versus Hocevar with maybe a year or two.
And that's going to wrap things up for our official season preview. Of course, we're going to be here every Tuesday so far. That's our schedule at this point. And normally at 4:00 Eastern. Of course, we'll let you know in advance as often as possible when we're ever going to change that, especially week to week if something comes up. Always check out the community section at Proline TV, because that's where we'll let you know and give you updates if something happens where we have to make a change. Like, oh, you're waiting for a show to pop up at 4:00 on Tuesday and it's not there, and you don't see anything on the in the library that says there's a live show upcoming at some other time or day. Well, check out the community section, and that's where we'll post some comments, sort of like the link I just put in that section right now, which you could also find in the description area of this video for the contest that we are starting. In case you were not with us at the beginning of the show, for the live viewers, obviously you've already seen this. For the on-demand viewers, but you can check it out. Check out our new contest, link in the description. And again, hopefully you'll join us and we'll have fun with that. And we're going to try to do our best to get you ready, not just for our contest, of course, but if you guys are actively investing your money on the big weekly contest, especially over at DraftKings, we'll do our best so you can try to make some big money to help you out with that. So CJ, good to have you along here as always. And I'll be flying solo on Saturday. Who knows? I might do it on Friday. because I don't have a very busy Friday schedule. So either Friday or Saturday, I am going to update what happens over at the duels and get you ready for the race with some more updated information. And that'll be a weekly show. Every Saturday normally will be the day that I'll come on and talk about what happened in qualifying and practice for every race in the NASCAR Cup Series. And of course, CJ, you're going to join me every Tuesday to preview the races. F1 does not come for a while. So what are you doing over at RotoWire? When will that first report be available?
We'll have a report ready for the duels after qualifying on Wednesday, so probably sometime Thursday. And then after the duels are complete on Friday, we'll have a preview for the Daytona 500 up on rotowire.com with DraftKings advice, as well as some of the best bets that are available for the weekend.
Excellent. For CJ Radune, I'm Greg DePalma. I will see you later tonight for some golf coverage. We're going to take a look at a big signature event on the PGA Tour at Pebble Beach. So I'm going to go ahead and get you all ready for that one. That is again tonight. Should be about 8 o'clock this evening, somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock this evening live. And then more coverage later this week. We still have some more football to talk about. And of course, NASCAR later in the week, horse racing as well. So for CJ Radune, I'm Greg DePalma. Thanks for tuning in here to our NASCAR coverage on ProLine TV.